You're welcome to our weekly report where we actually share what happened in the market. Before we move on to data, let's look at the oil share index. For those who have been following me, I actually track the oil share index just to know what is happening in the market. Same way we track the S&P 500 in the United States market to track what is going on in the market. So right now, if you look at my screen very well, you will see what has been happening. We actually had a major breakout around this region here, and we received a sharp rejection in this part, and that pullback leads to this point, which is like the all-time high for January, and that is where we are right now. So in fact, resistance is gradually becoming a support region. But for this market to hold and for investors to actually keep their gains, we want to see the market reverse from this area. So if you look at what happened on Friday, majority of the stocks actually did a comeback, and that is what we expected. So if you look at this region right here, we actually want this region to hold, or else we'll be coming down to this place, and we know how bloody it's going to be in the market. And even though if it comes to this part, a lot of stock will still hold their position, but not much, because there will be a little bit of panic in the market. And if this area is lost, which I think this area should serve as a strong resistance, just like we have in this area in January. So we should have same year, and the market should gradually recover, and we break this all-time high again and shoot up. And we break this all-time high again and shoot up, because that is what we expected. Because for a long while, we were actually in this region here. We were doing the same thing in this region for a long while before we have this massive push. And I'm expecting this same massive push around this area also. So we should get same just as what we have here. So this is for the all share index. And before we move on to individual stocks based on what our report is giving us, let's quickly jump to the report and see what transpire in the market. So this is the report for April 17th, and before we had a long Easter break. So you can see the market opened for just 4 trading days, and with the federal government declared 18th and 21st as public holiday. So meanwhile, the total turnover we've had so far is 1.5 billion shares. That is what 43 billion in 51,156 deals was traded this week by investors in the floor of the exchange, and in contrast to a total of 2,094 billion shares valued at 52.967 billion that exchanged hands last week in 64,000 deals. So we have more deals last week than the previous week that just finished because of the holidays, and I'm expecting the same to happen this week, because we actually had 4 trading days this week. So if we have 4 trading days, we should have reduced deals going on. So the financial services measured by volume led the activity chart with 1.122 billion shares valued at 24 billion traded in 28,801 deals, thus contributing 73% and 55% to the total equity, turnover, volume, and value respectively. So the financial service actually take the lead. When we talk about the financial services, we're talking about Fidelity Banks, we're talking about Access, we're talking about Jitco, we're talking about First Bank, Zenith, UCAP, and all that. So these areas are supposed to naturally attract volume because of the nature of our government, because let me not say government per se, that's how it is in the world. So financial services and insurance, because you still need to do your transaction. Lately, I used an ATM card and I was charged 107 naira for using a different ATM card. So imagine those charges. It wasn't like that before. I think 3 transactions will cost you 15 naira, if I'm not mistaken. I stand to be corrected. But now we see those high charges. Of course, the profit is going to the company, and that will mean a lot of profit for the company. If you look at Access also, there are a lot of transactions that happen in Access. And if you look at Jitco, look at there are many. So we can see Access came back to this region again after all-time high of 30 and another all-time high of 29. So these are some key things you just need to know. Let's jump back to the report that we have. So just telling us that financial services actually led, and the next is the ICT industry, so which followed by 101 million shares worth 4.8 billion in 2,541 deals. Then the third place, when we talk about ICT, We want to look at Omatech, we want to look at CWG, we want to look at Champs, we want to look at NSL Tech. So these are the areas we want to look at if we are considering ICT. So we want to look at Omatech if you are looking at ICT. Let me take these to stocks so that it will show Omatech. Let me take this back. So we're talking about Omatech. So this is Omatech Ventures. So these are ICT companies. So you see the chart for Omatech, and we also have that of Champs. Let's look at Champs also. Champs also is part of the ICT industry, so to speak. And this ranging has always continued. So let's see. Expecting it to break, but I think it's taking a longer time to actually break this. So that is Champs for you. Another one is NLS Tech, right? Or NSL Tech. So Secure Electronics Technology. So these guys also are into this platform too. So you can see coming back to this region, and it's actually a good one if you have a long time view concerning the stock. So when we jump back, so we see the deal ICT industry. CWG is one of the top one there. That's CWG. So this is it. Computer Warehouse Group is another good one to look at also. You can see the movement of CWG. It has always done this and face assistant here around 9.45, struggling to hit 10. But I think the dividend they are paying now, it's encouraging, and I think it will actually help those investing. But a wise investor will want to wait to see if he can get it around this region, which is where our community bought the previous time before we sold around this region. So let's jump back to the report and see what's going on. So, and this followed by this, and the third place was service industry, which also fall in this area. So service industry fall in this area that I just mentioned also. And we have other companies also in the service area. So, which has a turnover of 99 and the shares worth 1.2 billion, and the deals is 3,063 deals. So trading in the top three equities, namely Access Holdings, Fidelity, and Universal Insurance measured by volume. So these are the top trading equities. So let's jump into Unisure and see why people are actually rushing Unisure. So this is Universal Insurance. So this is Universal Insurance. It came back to this area was actually a resistance which was broken in this part, and you see it actually pulled back to this area. If you bring our cursor down here, we're looking at 45, and if this 45 and it close at 49, and if this happen, we might see another 45 again, and I think we might be coming down to this region, the 35 region, if we continue this downtrend. But if there's any pushback in the market, this might be another golden opportunity for you to go into Unisure for the next leg. So we'll keep watching. And also Access also did the same thing. We've looked at Access. Let's jump back to the reports and see with Fidelity. We look at Fidelity. So these are the top three equities that accounted for 448 million shares worth of 6.73 billion in 6,481 deals. This contributes 29% and 15% to the total equity turnover volume and value respectively. So let's look at the equity turnover, which we actually saw in this area here. So for Monday, we have 14,000 deals, 13, 12, and 11. You see how the volume was actually, the deals was actually reducing as we move along the week. And total turnover two displays same, except for that of Thursday that we actually experienced a little upward movement. That is from 351, we actually record 376. So the total turnover also reduced until on Wednesday that we had a little push. And the traded stocks also continue to increase 128, 129, then we'll move back to 124, then 120. Then the advanced stocks on Monday, we actually saw 28 stock closing green. And on Tuesday, we actually saw 25, on Wednesday 25, then on Thursday 24. So actually a slow decline. Then we have stocks that decline. On Monday, we have 24 decline. On Tuesday, we have 29, which was huge. Then on Wednesday, we have 20. Then on Thursday, we have 24. So if you look at the on-trade stock, it's still around this region, 76, within 75 to 80. These are the region. So if we look at how it's distributed, we know that the financial services take a huge chunk here, and we know the ICT take just 7%, and the services take 6%, and the rest take 13%. So let's quickly jump to ETP, a total of 19,814 unit value at 3,572 were traded this week in 62 deals, compared with a total of 111,693 units value at 6,115,000 transacted. That's 6.115 million transacted last week in 83 deals. So these are just the breakdown of what happened. So if we look at the bond market, a total of 81,000 units value at 84,283 million were traded this week in 27 deals, compared with a total of 144,487 units valued at 151,615 transacted last week in 100 deals. So we have all these. So the index movement, just like we've experienced, just like I explained before we jump into this report, the NGS All Share Index and the market capitalization depreciated by 0.32% to close the week at 104,233.81 basis point and 65.499 trillion respectively. Similarly, all other indices finished lower with the exception of NGS Premium, NGS Pension, NGS Merry Growth. We also have NGS Consumer Goods and NGS Oil and Gas, NGS Lotus 2, NGS Growth, NGS Sovereign Rate Bonds, and NGS Pension Board indices, which appreciated by 0.57% and 0.42%, 2.67%, and 2.33%, 0.2% and 0.16%, and 0.26%, 0.39%, and 0.55% respectively, while the NGS ASEM and the NGS Commodity Index closed flat. See a summary of index movement in the table below. So these are the summary of the movement in the table below. So if we want to look year to date and which one has been performing well, and this is 8%, and this is the sovereign index bond. Let's also look at this up and see that year to date 1.2% all share index, and if we look at 1.42, that's consumer goods, and we look the banking is giving us this is pension, so the pension is giving us 4.98%. So this is how the indices are being measured, and this is what happened weekly, and this is the change that we experience. This is the week to date, this is month to date, this is quarter to date, and this is year to date. So these are the changes that we have. Sometimes I like looking at the chart of these individual indices. So for example, let's look at NGS banking. So if you look at NGS banking, because that is the financial service that is actually getting volume. So if you look at the NGS banking, you see that we had a little bit of dip around there. And of course, we want the market to hold on around this area too, so that we will not break down and be coming down to this area again. And if anything happen here, the next support is around this region. So we see that the NGX banking the NGS banking is actually dipping and is losing value gradually. So we just need a good news to actually push the market. So if you want to look at the NGS insurance, we'll come to this place and let's look at the NGS insurance. So come here, look at the NGS insurance. So you see we've actually had a massive dip. If you follow the market, you know when all this happened, all the insurance stocks were actually dipping, and now we see a gradual recovery. So we just want it to gradually move up into this box. Then from here we want to see another upward trend. So we are still watching, we are still keeping tab. So another great one we want to look at again is the NGS oil and gas. So let's quickly jump into the chart and look at NGS oil and gas. So we have this here, NGS oil and gas sector, because if you notice, the oil and gas, the oil price has been dipping, and this is affecting majority of the stocks like Aradel, like Oando, Etana, MRS, Total, so Seplat. So these guys are actually taking a hit. But if you look at the chart here now, you realize that we've actually had a little comeback. And that is why if you see Orlando came down to like 37 and closed 40. So we see a sharp recovery in this candle here, and this tells us that this area is actually a strong support area, and that's why we are about to get a bounce from this. So this just gives you insight that the dip in the oil and gas sector is actually an opportunity for you to take advantage of the low price so that you can load your bag. Looking at Orlando at 40, this is the same price I bought it when I have to make a lot of money above 100% and sold around 96, 97. So I think getting it around this area again is just another miracle, so to speak, because you can't deny the fact that Orlando is going to do wonder. Coupled with the fact that by June, you'll be getting another extra bonus shares for those who actually took position in this area. So that is some key things. That's some key things you just need to know. And I don't want this report to be too long, but still, let's see if we can check these few stocks that I talked about. Let's look at Orlando. This Orlando, let's see what Orlando is doing. So you can see what I told you. I told you that we had a sharp comeback around here, which is 40. I, for one, was actually waiting for Orlando to come around this 30 region. Of course, forgive me if you actually bought higher. I just follow the chart and see what the chart is doing. So if we want to look at the other block, we'll see that we are actually around this area. So this is the other block here. So the last bearish candle before the bullish run. So we had the other block here, and if you look at it here, we only have a sharp touch here, which I'm very, very sure if you've been following me, you would have taken advantage of that. And those who bought higher is another opportunity to average down, because from here, either you like it or not, it's going to continue to shoot up. But the fact is, if the US oil, if the war and everything start to affect the oil price, just as oil price is coming down, I'm looking at the US oil to dip to like 43. And if that happens, you know that it's going to come around this area, and this will be another buying opportunity, because we are just in April, and May, June we have another bonus to get, which is 1 for every 12, and we're still waiting for the announcement for that bonus. And next year we're still going to have 2 times again. So this is just a short dividends for 3 years, and if you hold for 3 years, you actually make 50% of your money in that 3 years. So let's quickly jump to the report and see what's next. So this is just comparing the all share index with the NGX 30. For those of us who don't know the NGX 30, just like we have S&P 500, the NGX 30 comprises of the 30 highly capitalized stock in the Nigerian market, and we track the movement, and that is why you see a little bit of chart here. So you can still have it here. Let's look at NGX 30 and see how it's currently doing. So we'll jump to index and we'll come to this place. So this is the NGX 30. We also have NGX 50. So the NGX 30 also, you see, if you look at majority of them, they mimic the all share index. Just like if you look at a lot of these composite in the US market, they also mimic the S&P 500. So here we go, and this is the S&P. This is the NGX 30. So this is the highly capitalized stock in the Nigerian market. So you can see this dip, you are expecting a recovery around this area. So let's jump back to our report as we look at the market. So the 31 equities appreciated in price during the week and higher than 27 equities in the previous week. So 44 equities depreciated in price, lower than 56 in the previous week, while 72 equities remain unchanged. So if we come to this place, we want to look at top gainers for the week. So far, Abe has been going up every day. So if you've been following my content and you actually take note, you know there was a time, 2023 to be precise, I actually talked about Abe. And even lately in 2024, I talk about Abe. And when I talk about Abe, it was still around this region. But if you know, I mentioned that it's not liquid. That's what I mentioned. I mentioned it's not liquid, and most of my community members are actually high volume investors and traders. So that is why I only say you can just put a little money here, and those who follow my advice, then I'm very, very sure they will be smiling they'll be smiling now because their portfolio will continue to shoot up, no matter how small it is. So the top performer is Abe Mortgage Bank. And this is just as a reasoning that we are gradually moving into that aspect of mortgage, where a lot of times you compare your country with other people's country that they can get loan and all that. So we are coming there too. Don't forget, as they get loan and live the life they want, they are also in debt. But now that same system is coming. You'll be in debt and you enjoy the life you want to enjoy, and that is why Abe is one of the platform you want to take advantage of, because just as the industry is growing gradually, that is how the Abe Mortgage Bank will also grow. So you can imagine from 2, we are actually almost 9. So you never can tell. Maybe we are going to 50. You never can tell. These are how some of these stocks are just moving gradually until we see them do 10x. We also have Nigerian Brewery. So Nigerian Brewery is another one that actually did well. So from 32 to 36, which is like 13%. We also have Associated Buzz Company, which is ABC. That one did 12%. We also have Livestock Feed. Livestock Feed did 11%. So you can see it actually came down to 720, 750. I'm very, very sure some smart investors would have taken a good position. We also have Unilever Nigeria from 34 to 38. We also have VFD Group. VFD Group, actually, I took some small profit there. I jumped in when it was, I think, 74. Then I jumped out when it was 96. Yes, when it was 96. So that is the current price now. And that day, it actually got to 105. But I actually put my order 100. But when I saw that the volume is reducing, I gradually shifted it to 97. Then I sold, and I think a lot of people bought around 96, 86.40, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it's still going to come down a bit, and I think the markdown is close and we get it cheap, and I think that will be another great time to take position again. So we also have Echo Transnational Incorporated, also gained 8%. Wema is giving 1 naira dividend, so that's a good one. That's 10% if you buy below 10, or if you buy at 10. If you buy at 10, you will not get 10% because of tax. So we have 8.64, and we have Lean Africa also gained 8.33, and Access Holdings actually tried in their dividends. They paid 2 naira. And that's a good one. So we have top decliners, which is where you can also see opportunity to take advantage of the market. We have Guarantee Trust Bank lose 13%, Zenith lose 11%, Darcom lose 11%, Cavanton Offshore lose 10%, ROT Briscoe lost 10.38%, Industrial and Medical Gases lost 10%, Nigerian Flour Mills lost 9.97%, International Energy Insurance also lost 9.78%, and we have Mutual Benefit, which has actually done a huge run. I hope those guys are smart to take advantage of the upward trend there. So we also have C&I Leasing also. C&I Leasing, another good one, 9%. So these are companies that actually announced dividends and they've made their price adjustment. So you can see them here. We have Stanbic IBTC. The closure was 14th of April, and the last price was 65, and the dividends was 3. So the current price is 59. We also have United Bank for Africa, which is 35, and the dividends is 3. So the markdown is 32.30. We also have Custodian. Custodian is 17, and the markdown was 110, and now we have 16.80. So we also have Fidelity Bank. Fidelity Bank is 18.30. We now have 1.25 as dividends, so the current price is 17.05. We have Guarantee Trust Bank also, which equals at 67. If you mark down 7 naira 3 kobo, we now have 59.97. Zenith also is not excluded, 49.80 with a 4 naira dividends is now 45.80 also. We have NASCON Aligned Industries, which is 43, and it's paying a dividend of 2 naira, and the price is now 41.95. So we also have FCMB Group, which is 9 naira 10 kobo, and it's paying a dividends of 55 kobo, and now the price is 8 naira 55 kobo. So these are some few informations you need to know for those who are interested in the dividends, so you should know which is also available. And I've done a video. I don't know if you have the time to check. You can come here. I think this is top dividend stock. So this video, you can come and check and see which one you want to go into. So some of them have actually made payment, which is what I'm sharing here now, so you can look at it. So we have Wema Bank also. I think the admission code for trading rights, so trading license holders notify Wema Bank reviews of these two. So what they are doing is you can buy Wema Bank for 10 naira 45 kobo per share on the basis of 2 new ordinary shares for every existing 3. So for every existing 3, they give you 2 new shares held at the close of business on Wednesday 5th. So the qualification date is 5th of March, and I think it should be a good one also. And I think the price might just continue to shoot up. So this is weekly reports, and these are the dealings here. So we have 14 billion ordinary shares, and the rights issue price is 10 naira 45, and these are the symbol code, and this is the ratio 2 for 3, and the opening date is 14th of 2025 April, and the closing date is actually 21 May 2025. So the registrar is Greenwich Registrar and Data Solution Limited. So this is how we fared for the last week, and we hope to have a good week as we enter another week. So this week, with this information we've gotten, we actually know what to do and actually seeing some opportunity that we can take advantage of. I'll be having a meeting for Easter Monday with my community. Though we're doing research on ETF, we've started it last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so we want to do the part 2 of it to continue to take advantage of the bleeding market that is happening in the United States market, which is the New York Stock Exchange. So guys, this is my channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you get notified to my post enriching videos like this. Until I come your way again, keep making money and keep producing wealth without tears. I love you all, my friends. Bye.